South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White, trio on the desk here this morning. A lot to get to here on a Wednesday, Alex.
Yeah, and pretty eventful games last night for the first play-in games for the NBA. Baseball's been a lot of fun. We got a full slate today. Not necessarily my favorite card, but a lot to bet on. I'm looking forward to going through it this next hour with you two.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The NBA playoffs are always a fun time of year because it's the one time you really get a great effort out of these guys instead of the last 2 minutes of the game. And last night, that second game, Memphis and Golden State really went down to the wire. It was a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, last night, both favorites win. Orlando covers easily. Golden State does not. In the end, Orlando goes to Boston now for their opening round series. Boston's only minus 6,000 to win that series. You want 22-1 on the take back? No, you probably need more than that if you even want to consider that in Orlando. And then Golden State, as we mentioned yesterday, is a favorite in the early numbers against Houston, minus 180, plus 160 on the take back on the Rockets. Not overly surprising. We expected Golden State to be pushing $2 going into this.
Yeah, and I mentioned Memphis, I thought, had a really good lineup, and I thought that they could give Golden State a battle. The only negative for me was everybody in Memphis is 24 and 25, and Golden State is full of playoff experience. And you saw Jimmy Butler, first playoff game with Golden State, he steps up and has an amazing night. You can't underestimate experience, and that is what Golden State has over Houston in this series.
You said playoff experience, championship experience.
And, well, championship, too, winning championship,
right,
yeah. No doubt about it. So that's a big advantage.
Memphis did put in a good effort, though. We'll have another game coming up Friday, so.
Grizz will play we'll get to it later. Grizz will play the winner of Sacramento and Dallas. The Hawks, who Trae Young got himself tossed in the middle of that game, almost seemed intentional, will play the winner of Chicago and Miami. Again, we'll break these down later in the show. As we begin, as we always do in baseball, we have a few games just about to start, so we got to hit them right out of the gate. And we start north of the border, as it will be the first time in nearly 380 days that Spencer Strider has taken the mound in a Major League Baseball game. Rehab starts look good, and the Braves very happy to have him back. Strider and Bassett, good pitching matchup north of the border. $1.25 at the current moment on Atlanta. This opened minus 140. So they've been betting Toronto here, Alex. The bigger move, though, this total opened 8. And as we speak right now, it's actually at 7, minus 120 on that 7. So they bet it down a whole run here with Strider and Bassett.
I don't really know what to expect. And I read things. I've heard some people talk about him doing very well in AAA for his rehab. But I'll send it to you how you think that Strider will do after so many days and months off here for him.
Well, talking about a healthy pitcher starting the season, I say that, they're nowhere near midseason form. So you've got to be careful. You're not going to get that, Cy Young Award stuff we've seen out of Strider. He's going to get his strikeouts, but where his command is going to be questionable. He may walk a few more guys than he normally does. You get him in the stretch, he's probably going to be a little bit more vulnerable than he is out of the windup, and he may give up a couple more hits. And, he's going to be on a pitch count as well. So, I gave him a pretty decent rating. I think he's worth about 25 cents more than the rating that I gave him for this game, but still really good pitcher, and I definitely think he should be the favorite. Not as high as what the number is, though, right now.
Bend him down. 15-cent move on this game. Again, Blue Jays and Braves north of the border. Bassett's been reasonable so far to begin the year as well. We'll see how it plays out. I'm a little floored that this total has moved the whole run. I think that, even more so than the side opener, was more. The fact that it's been bet down a whole run is super, super aggressive to me, Alex.
Well, looking into the Braves, and they are starting to hit the ball better, especially, they have quite a few home runs, so more like power hits there. But seems that they've been doing really well against just those strikes and fastballs. So Bassett does have some good stuff, right, that they can throw at the Braves here in that lineup. 21 strikeouts on the year to just 3 walks, so great command for him. So maybe that has something to do with it as well, kind of Bassett on the other side as well as Strider, and keeping this at a lower scoring game.
Yeah, I was conservative on Strider's rating that I gave him for this game, and I made the game 7 myself because Bassett is very good. Both lineups have been below average. You got really good, solid defense with the Braves, and the bullpens aren't great, but Atlanta's is a little above average. So with both starting pitchers, I don't want to bet it under, though, that's for sure, because as I mentioned, like Strider, he could give up 4 or 5 runs. He could also throw an amazing game. You just don't know. It's inconsistency with guys coming back from injury and not knowing if they're really ready or not.
Moving along to the other morning starts, we go to Milwaukee next. Quintana Montaro, your pitching matchup for this one with the Brewers, a minus 150 favorite. This is another mover this morning, 25 cents off the opener, Alex, for minus 125. Total's also been bet up as well in this game, so I guess people very aggressive early morning totals here. 8 on this one. Tigers have taken they took the opener behind Skubal, and then yesterday the Brewers took it 5-0. So rubber match here at AmFam.
Yeah, a lot of these series coming in today are tied up at 1-1, so it is pretty interesting. You don't really have that sweep angle to use today, but I really like the Tigers in this spot. I like Montero. I like what he did last year in his first year in the bigs, and I think there's a little bit of an advantage here because he didn't face any of these Milwaukee Brewer lineup here, so he's also really good against lefties, and the Brewers have a lot of lefties at least 4, maybe 5 in their lineup. So I think there's some value here getting that plus 135. I didn't check what the first 5 was. That might even be even better, and take the bullpens out of it.
I only made the game 7, and I maybe it's because I got a little bit higher rating on Reese Olson and Quintana than I should, but the bullpens are great for both of these teams. That's, a big key in keeping games under is that pen. Olson has struggled out of the gate. He is so much better than the stats and the numbers we're looking at.
That's the one that did switch on you, the
What's
Reese
that?
Olson. It is going to be Montero for...
Oh, Montero now. Kreider Montero?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the way Olson's pitching, he's probably about the same talent right now. And I don't like Kreider. I think he's a well below average pitcher. But I would make this game higher. And Jeff, that's why I think they're betting it over, is because Montero's going, and Quintana. I just don't know what you're going to get out of him at his age right now. He hasn't had a really good year, I don't think, since 2021, 2020, in that range.
He was all right last year.
Was he?
Yeah, he's all right last year. But again, the guy who's reliant on confusion of the hitter more
Yeah.
so than anything, just changing speeds, and the changeup's not working. Could be a bad day. All right, moving along. Other two games that are starting in the next few minutes. Mets and Twins, rubber match in Minneapolis. Mets going with a bullpen game here today. Griffin Canning scratched due to an illness, so Brazoban will start the game, and the Mets will try to get 9 innings out of their bullpen. They are off tomorrow, so have a little bit of a better ability to use more guys. Daniel Festa will go for the Twins. Twins $1.20 favorites in this one, total of 8, Alex.
I think it'd have to be Twins or pass with the bullpen here, and having an advantage with Festa on the mound for the Twins getting the start. But I really don't trust this Twins offense. They've struggled all year. If you look at their last 7, they've been struggling offensively. So it would be Twins or pass for me, but I'm not going to bet this one.
Yeah, I had the Twins yesterday. Again, thought the price was a little short for this Minnesota team. They haven't played great, but their offense, I think, is better than the Mets. I think their bullpen is far better than the Mets. And now you got an opener going. And I'm not a huge David Festa fan. I think he's about a rather average big league pitcher. I have the Mets $1.30. I think a lot of people are really just backing this New York team because there's a lot of New York backers, and they're very hopeful that this is the team that can finally make a run, and they get out of the gate good. You're going to get a lot of New York bet money.
8 total in this one. Be again Met bullpen game here today. All right, that last one in the early games. Mats and Blanco in St. Louis today. Cardinals and Astros. Again, another rubber match here in this series. Depends on where you're looking. It's a pick in most spots. Astros a slight favorite here at the South Point with a total of 8.5, Alex.
Pretty much even here with the pitching matchup with Blanco and Mats, but I like the Cardinals in this spot. I mean, yesterday was the first time all season that they got shut out and didn't get a run in a game. They've been very good, one of the best right now in the major. So, yeah, I think St. Louis is the right side here at a pick'em, minus 105 for the Cardinals.
Had the Cardinals yesterday, and they couldn't get a run. It's funny, had the Phillies against them twice last week, and they shut the Phillies out twice. I made St. Louis $1.14 and 9 in the game. Matt's first start of the year is pitched out of the bullpen 4 times. I always thought Steven Matz was going to be a really good pitcher for somebody, and I thought it was going to be the Mets. But he's moved around from team to team and hasn't been healthy. I think when healthy, if this guy could put something together, he could put an all-star year together. He's that kind of stuff, but just not healthy. Maybe they think he is after 4 relief appearances. Maybe they think he's ready for the start. Ronel Blanco was an extremely lucky pitcher last year, probably one of the luckiest in the big leagues. A lot of left on base numbers, had a lot of runners everywhere, but just nobody could seem to score against the guy. And that's just kind of the roll of the dice. It just comes out that way sometimes. And it has reversed for him this year. He's been extremely unlucky to start the season. So, I would lean to the over here, not knowing what you're going to get from Mats and Blanco, really struggling right now. Confidence is a fragile thing. Not sure if he can get that confidence back or not.
Rubber match again in St. Louis. Both teams off to slower starts. As we talked about, the American League is just a jumbled around 500 mess right now, with Detroit having the best record, one of 2 teams with double-digit wins, or 3 teams, I should say, with double-digit wins in the American League. Entering today. All right, we go to we'll now go in rotation number order and work our way down the card. We start in San Diego. Padres finally lose a home game yesterday. Cubs knock them out. So Imanaga and company, even with a price that seemed a little bit crazy on the Padres, still got there as a favorite. Pivetta and Boyd, your pitching matchup in this one. Padres $1.15 favorites at home, total of 8 in this one, Alex. Quick note on the total. It is basically 7.5 everywhere else. So this is the only 8 in the market on this game.
Ooh, this is a tough one to handicap. I do like Nick Pivetta. I think he'll be okay in this spot. I think the Padres will be highly motivated to take the series here from the Cubs, especially getting their first loss at home. But I think Matthew Boyd has been very good for Chicago as well. So I think that's priced correctly. Padres just a small favorite. And I mean, looking at these two, both their offenses have been very good. I just don't want to go against those pitchers, so I can't even get jumping on and over here. So nothing really jumped out in this for me.
Yeah, these Both offenses really swinging it well. Had the Padres last night. I was on that 11-game home winning streak, and they finally lose in a tough one, 2-1. Sometimes there's a letdown, kind of bubble burst after a situation like that. So I'm hoping that's the fact. I don't want to get caught in the switches, but I am going to bet the Cubs today. Made Boyd $1.21 here. I think there's an advantage for Chicago offensively and with the lefty on the mound. I think if there's a negative in the Padres lineup, it's going to be against lefties this year. So I really like Matthew Boyd. Thought he was a good pickup. The weather in San Diego, 65 is the high today. A little chilly there for San Diego. So don't think the ball's going to carry great, and that's why the total just 7.5 in a day game.
Yeah, nothing. There's really not a lot of weather across the board here today. The only one we'll get to a little bit later in the Bronx, there's a wind tunnel in a spot that could lead to a lot of junk home runs, to say the very least. Well, but that's really the only game with a lot of weather here today across the Major League Baseball landscape. All right, we go to Pittsburgh next. Battle of lefties here. Falter and Parker, your pitching matchup. Nats a slight favorite in this game, -10 here at the point. Total of 8.5. James Wood is off to a fabulous start for the Washington Nationals. Always knew the kid was talented. Nice to see him put it together early in the year, tied for the Major League lead in homers. Another rubber match here in this game, Alex. Pirates took game 1 behind Skeens. Nats won yesterday in a 3-0 shutout.
Yeah, I think this has got to be my favorite or best bet of the day with the Nationals here at a pick 'em price. I just think it's such a huge advantage with Mitchell Parker compared to Bailey Falter. I mean, even looking at their numbers on the year, 13 strikeouts to 6 walks for Falter and 10 and 8 for Parker. So not much there, but looking at their ERA and their WHIP, it's Parker is definitely the better pitcher here. I still am concerned with the Padres and their offense. I know that they managed to put up 10 in that first game for Paul Skeens' day, but getting shut out yesterday, I think the Nats is the right side.
Yeah, two lefties going head-to-head here, and two younger pitchers. I think Parker's like 25 or 26, Falter 27 years old, and both have gotten quite a bit of experience in the big league so far early in their career. Both guys are strike throwers, but so far, you're right, Alex, Parker has been the better pitcher of the two, and I like the Nationals lineup better against lefties than Pittsburgh's lineup. So I made the Nationals $1.33. I would lay a small price here with them. Made the total 8. It's right there.
You know, for the Pirates, we talked about all offseason. The starting pitching was going to be, realistically speaking, the only strength of this team. It has played out so far. The lineup, which going into the year looked as weak as anyone other than the White Sox and the Marlins going in, has not performed. And the bullpen has been mostly bad, which is a bad combination to stay in things. And again, in an NL Central that is not overwhelming, to say the very least.
Yeah.
This is a team that has, by the end of the day, very easily could have the second worst record in the NL and be in a 7-game hole under 500 with Paul Skeens starting every 5th day. Very, very poor start to the year for the Pirates, and Alex expects it to continue today with the Nats as one of her plays. We'll see if it makes the whiteboard a little bit later in the show.
Definitely could use Jared Jones back.
Wouldn't hurt.
Because they need that at least starting 3 knockout there. But
we go to Miami next. It's going to be Brandon Pfaadt and Max Meyer. Meyer coming off of a gem, spun his last time out. Fish at home, a +125 dog in this one. This is just the second of 3 games in this series. Arizona took game 1, 10-4 yesterday. Total of 8.5 for this one. And Kenny, you and I kind of talked about the Marlins yesterday, where we're off to an 8-7 start. This could very easily be a brutal week where it comes back to earth and they start looking like the Marlins we expected to see this year. And yesterday was a pretty good start to that theory.
Yeah, it sure was. Diamondbacks came through in a big way, put up a big number, and got the W. And you said the Marlins next. They got to go to Philadelphia. So, things could start to tumble. Max Meyer is going to be a guy that they rely on to be a stopper of losing streaks. First-round draft pick. He came up last year and logged quite a few innings and got himself some experience. He showed really good command, big-time velocity. Just lacks the experience right now, but he's off to a nice start. I made the Diamondbacks $1.75 here. I guess there's been a little money for Miami, but Arizona would be a play for me. I would jump back on them. I've got a massive difference in offenses here. Defensively, the Diamondbacks are better, and I really like Max Meyer. He obviously got a great potential, but so does Brandon. I won't say his last name. Alex is always butcher it. Fott. I want to put a D in there. I want Fadat or something. I don't know. It's fat. That's just fantastic.
Just fought. It took me a while, but I have nothing. I think this is a tough handicap. I mean, really, you guys talking about the Marlins, and they have been better than expected this year. And it's really offensively. I mean, even giving up 10 yesterday, they still managed to get 4 on the board. So would like to go with a little bit of an over here. I mean, I think both of these pitchers are good, great, but not elite. So I think we could get some runs. But at the same time, looking at both of their numbers, neither of them have really been walking guys. More of a strikeout type, and I need some guys on the bases to get some runs here. So I'm just going to pass in this one. Told you, this is a tough card.
If anything, I'd actually lay the run line with Arizona. That'd be the only thing I'd look at. Expect a little regression from Meyer, who was outstanding his last time out. Didn't give up a hit until the 6th inning in his last start. I'm just going back to what Kenny and I talked about yesterday. I think we're on the right path here, that this is regression week for Miami, and it starts to look a little more ugly as we go through the year for the Fish. All right, we go to Philadelphia next. Good pitching matchup. Former Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray is going to go for San Francisco. Aaron Nola goes for Philadelphia here tonight in the city of brotherly love. This is the middle game of this 4-game series. So game 3, first 2 split so far with these teams. They'll play a day game tomorrow. Alex, Nola's $1.45 at home, 7.5 the total. And the Giants, as we talked about, off to a rip-roaring 12-5 start, even with the loss yesterday.
Yeah, Giants have been very impressive. I was just talking about the last 2 pitchers really being strikeout guys. Well, Robbie Ray, I mean, he is just walking a ton, 13 strikeouts to 10 walks, and that could be exactly what Philly needs to get their offense going, which has been struggling to start the year. I think that price is right. I think the Phillies should be about $1.40 here, and I think the total is pretty close as well, 7.5.
Yeah, I made it $1.40 and 8. Robbie Ray really hasn't logged a lot of innings since 2022 because of injuries. This guy could be another good bump to the Giants staff if he can get healthy. But you're right, Alex. He's having a really rough time throwing strikes. He's walked 9 batters in his last 10 innings. Tough to hit, but that's because he's all over the place. And sometimes that's effective if you can be effectively wild. I don't know if he's trying to do that or not. I doubt it. But yeah, look for Robbie Ray if he's healthy, to really be a guy to bet on maybe in June, starting in June.
Wouldn't surprise me if it takes some time. Again, the Giants, as we said, we expected them. They were around a 500 win total. 4 teams already in that division with 10 wins. And again, it's going to be, this National League is going to be a race, realistically speaking, to 92 and probably maybe even higher with the way this league looks, as opposed to the American League, where maybe a race to 83 and you might get in. Yeah, a little bit of a difference in quality this year in these 2 leagues at the top. All right, speaking of the top of the NL, Dodgers have taken the first 2 against the Rockies. Kind of done it in ho-hum fashion so far through the first 2 games. It's Miller and Marquez. Dodgers are $3 in this game with Bobby Miller. A total 8.5, and this is just another one. It goes back to earlier in the week where Dustin May was a huge favorite. Dodgers won, covered the run line. Is there any justification for Bobby Miller being a $3 favorite, even against a team as bad as Colorado here, Alex?
I think so. I mean, really, when you have the offensive advantage, defensive advantage, bullpen advantage, I mean, adding all that up, I definitely think the Dodgers should be a nice size favorite here in this one. I like the over, but I would like to just focus on the Dodgers getting there, and Their team total is 5.5 with a plus 120. So I like playing that and just trusting the Dodgers to get 6 runs here in this one.
Not a bad way to go with that Dodger lineup. I like the game over. Bobby Miller, boy, he had a really nice year, 2023, coming up, first rounder. But then since struggled mightily last year in 13 starts, walking almost 5 guys per 9 innings, ERA over 8. It was ridiculous. He started the year at AAA in Oklahoma City. And he's walked as many guys as he struck out in 12 innings. So the command's just not there. There are going to be base runners everywhere. You just need to get a hit with runners on or with a 2-out hit from the Rockies. And I think this game could go soaring over 8.5 runs.
Wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me on that. Again, Miller, this is just one of those. Miller, $3 favorite stands out. Like, how can that be? But again, Colorado is that bad. Them and the White Sox are pretty clearly teams 29 and 30 in the majors. It's going to be in that division. I mean, Colorado could struggle to get to 60 wins just because of how good that NL West is, and maybe they're even fortunate that it's not the total unbalanced schedule. It's the slightly unbalanced schedule towards the division opponents, only playing 13 as opposed to the 19 even just a few years ago. All right, let's go to Baltimore next. Orioles and Guardians. Williams and Kramer, your pitching matchup here. Again, the Orioles just don't look good. Have not played well at all to begin the year. A 6-10 start, a 6-3 loss yesterday. Did we sneak over the total at the end of that game, Kenny? I think we snuck over yesterday on that
Which
Orioles
one?
game. The Orioles game yesterday.
Yeah, I think by half a run.
We snuck over at the end on that 6-3 final. Alex, $1.20 now on Baltimore, and plus 105 on Cleveland, total of 8 in this one.
I would look at the Guardians here, if anything. Like you said, I don't want to bet on the Orioles, especially laying a price here until they really start to get it figured out. I also think Evan Williams is the better pitcher of the two, so it's a slight lean. I think Cleveland's been better than people have expected as well. Everybody was waiting for a huge regression from last year, and we've seen it, but they are above 500, 9-7. So I think that they are playing better baseball right now, so it'd be Guardians or pass.
Yeah, Dean Kremer's been an average big league pitcher, and the last couple of years he's been a little lucky. This year, so far, no luck. Batting average, balls in play is extremely high. Left on base percentage is at 56%. Those numbers are going to change, and he's going to go from horrible to average at one point, but don't expect anything more than that out of Kremer. He just doesn't have that type of stuff. Gavin Williams, you're right, former first rounder, really good stuff, has been third year around in the big leagues now, and that's kind of when I expect guys to make their biggest jump, and he hasn't disappointed. He's got a little work to do on his command, and on the road I could expect him to maybe struggle against a good offensive team, so I would lean to it over. I only made the total 8, but I would lean to it over here because I think the factor really is Kremer's just not pitching well to start, and the Indians, this is a guy that they could put runs up against.
Going down to Tampa next, Red Sox and Rays. Red Sox, after getting embarrassed in the first game of this series, bounced back 7-4 win yesterday, a pair of overs as well. And Kenny, we started talking about Steinbrenner Field down in Tampa, and we had the discussion early about Sacramento. Now another minor league park, spring training park, that is not accustomed to regular season games. First two games of this series have flown over. We get Newcomb and Little, total 9, minus 40 on Tampa in this one with a plus 125 take back on Sean Newcomb and the Red Sox.
Yeah, again, this is going to be a really good hitter's park when the weather starts to warm up in Tampa, and especially day games. And a shame they do play back-to-back night games here when the temperature is pretty warm in Tampa. I think it's going to be in the mid-80s today. For Tampa, that's extremely hot when you're kind of at sea level there. So it could be a little warm tonight. Both these guys have really struggled to start the season. I made the game, I made it a little too low. 8.5 is way too low, I think, for this pitching matchup and the way these two offenses. I think the Rays numbers have looked a lot better over the last 7 to 10 days because of this ballpark, and you're gonna notice that the Tampa's pitchers are going to look weaker and their hitters are going to look better just because of the ballpark they play in.
8-6 at home. That means they've only played 3 road games so far. So playing a lot of their home games right now in Tampa Bay. I agree with you, lean to the over, but I do think the adjustment has been made there with that 9.5. And I'm glad the Red Sox didn't make my board on Monday because that was a lean with Tanner Houck on the mound. But yeah, they got crushed 15-1 in that first one. Good bounce back yesterday, though. Nothing for me. I think these numbers are just right, and it's tough to bet on either of these pitchers right now.
The Red Sox have been, to me, as big of an underachiever early, and yet they're only 2 games behind the Yankees. They're actually in reasonable shape, all things considered, even with this slow start. And again, the American League is so, as we've mentioned, just so compact, so average to begin this year that, look, the only team that I will say is out of it already is the Chicago White Sox because they were out of it before they even threw a pitch this year. Everybody else, including that's a dollar in the jar probably, the Athletics of West Sacramento now, there we go, are the only, even they're in it, even at the slow start at 7-10. This is a wide open American League. I think you got an argument for 14 of these 15 teams sneaking in a back door, getting a wild card, especially without compact. I think it's going to be all year long.
To your point with the Red Sox, I would say they've been one of the most inconsistent too, right?
Easily.
I mean, they can either crush a team or they can lose 15-1. It's really tough to bet on that team right now. Them and the Astros, I think, stand out the most with the inconsistency.
Astros the only team with a run so far today in the 3 games going. They're up 1-0 early in St. Louis. Everything else, nothing to kick off your day in Major League Baseball. All right, going to the south side of the Chicago. Sorry, White Sox. We knew already, again, like I said, before they even threw a pitch. You knew they were done more likely than not. They throw Jonathan Cannon to the bump tonight against the Beto of the Athletics. Plus 140 on the White Sox, minus 55 on the A's on the take back for this one. And Alex, total is 7.5 on the south side. A's took game 1, 12-3 last night.
Did you skip one? With the pinstripes? Is this the one where we're getting some
wind?
wind?
We will get back to the pinstripes in a second, but go ahead with this one first.
Well, it just depends how much you trust the Athletics here. I do think you have the pitching advantage with Beto. I think he's been very good for this team. I also really like their offense. I definitely think that they are above this White Sox team. So minus 155, if you could stomach it, I think the Athletics is the right side, but I'm not going to play it.
I made Beto $1.45. I can see higher because of the White Sox, and now they're really starting to struggle. And this is the weakest offense in baseball right now. Beto's got good stuff. I think he's still even a work in progress. A pickup from the Pittsburgh Pirates that the Oakland Athletics took a chance with him. Now the Vegas A's. I think the one thing that he really needs to. Looks like what he needs to focus on is being lucky because he's been really unlucky so far in his first 3 starts. Batting average balls in play, 391, but he has had a 77% left on base percentage, and that's been strong. A lot of fly balls out of Beto. So if you know the wind's blowing out, you maybe want to bet over in his games because those fly ball pitchers give up a lot of home runs.
So right now, this is a pretty innocuous weather game, slightly in on the wind, but it's going to peak at 7 miles an hour. So pretty good weather, all things considered. Well, it's chilly. It's 38 degrees on the south side of Chicago. All right, now we go to the wind game. This is in a Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Bubic will go for the Royals. Clark Schmidt starting for the Yankees. $1.50 on the Bronx Bombers. I'm stunned this total is only 8. Wind blowing out to right center at 15 miles an hour. We already know you don't need much help to get it out to right field, the Yankee Stadium, Alex.
I think the only thing holding him back right now is how the Royals' offense has been, especially their last 7 games. And they have been one of the worst in the league. Offensive, their slugging is 233. OBP is 237. So they've really struggled. WRC plus 36.
Yikes.
So I think that's probably the main thing. But if we have weather, maybe this is just what the Royals need. Lean to the over. Are we jumping in here?
I'm looking at my numbers. I was checking the weather too with Jeff, and it looks to me more this wind's going to really die down by 7:00 tonight. I don't think there's going to be any wind that will affect play there. So Clark Schmidt making his first start. had a strained shoulder. He's been out. These guys don't perform to their best. He's going to be on a pitch count. They are going to have to rely on that bullpen, which is very good. I gave Schmidt his highest rating. I should have taken 20% off that, being off, 15 days. So I had the Yankees 213. I'll probably adjust this down to about $1.80. I do have it 9.5. That would even make my total higher. I do worry about the Royals offense, though. You mentioned their numbers over the last 7 games. Horrendous. Maybe they can get it going against Schmidt here tonight. We know the Yankees hit lefties very well. That's one advantage. So my numbers say bet it over, but I'm a little leery of it.
Total 8, minus 50 on the Yankees. As Alex and Kenny both said, Royals really struggling right now. Yankees have taken the first 2 games of this series, 4-1 and 4-2. All right, going to Texas. It's Patrick Corbin night. Patrick Corbin night against Soriano of the Angels, who's pitched really well to begin the season. So, Alex, how do we figure out how to bet the Patrick Corbin side of things here in this one? $1.35 on the Angels, 9.5 on the total, and then what are we looking at on the team total there on your sheet right in front of you, Alex?
Okay, team total for these two going Rangers is 4.5. Over is plus 125, and the Angels is 4.5 as well, but juice to the over.
Yeah, it would only be a look to the Angels team total, or find a 2.5 first 5 team total. I always looking to go against Patrick Corbin under any circumstance, as long as he's still pitching here.
It's not as much fun when he's pitching for a team like the Texas Rangers, right? I mean, especially with his former teams and the Nats, and they couldn't really hit. But I'm a little bit nervous in this one. I do like what I've seen from Soriano. I think he's played well, and I still like this Angels team until they stop hitting. But I really have no angles to play on this one. What about you?
Well, Patrick Corbin may benefit from being with the Rangers. He did not pitch well, obviously, with the Washington team. And this Ranger team has such a great defense that might benefit him, because we know he's not a big-time strikeout guy, 7 Ks per 9 innings, but his command has always been, solid. And I think that, he's a keep-away type of pitcher. We know that he's lucky he's a lefty. Obviously, he would have been out of the big leagues 5 years ago if he wasn't a lefty. But these teams keep having him stick around because he's been an innings eater over the last 4 years. And I don't blame you, Jeff, for going against him. He's below average big league pitcher right now. The Angels, I think, are. I bet against him yesterday. That was a bet I think I left off the whiteboard. I did. That was probably the best bet of the day. The Rangers battling a team above them in the standings that they know they're better than. I made the game pick here just because I think the Rangers are a better ball club. I only made the total 8.5. I don't want to go under, though, with Patrick Corbin.
Millie was awesome yesterday. 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, continuing his nice start to the 2025 campaign. All right, one last one. We go to Cincy. It's Miller and Martinez. Solid pitching matchup at the Great American Park. Ballpark here. Seattle got bombarded yesterday. Total of 8.5. There's some 9 in the market on this one. Mariners slight favorite, $1.25 on the road.
Another tough one here with these two. I like both of these pitchers, and Bryce Miller and Martinez. Reds have a nice little streak going here, and it's funny, a lot of people like them coming into the season, and they have played up to expectations. I still think the Mariners can turn it around. I mean, they do have one of the best pitching staff, and when they're away from home, you got to expect more runs. That's why we have such a high total there. But I think both numbers are right, 8.5 and minus 125 for the Mariners. So that was a long way to say I have nothing.
It's okay. 4-game winning streak. The Reds have the longest winning streak of any team playing today. So got to kind of calculate that in. I'm basically a pick 'em game from me in 8.5. You're right. Nick Martinez has been a good story, 34 years old. He's pitched a lot out of the pen, got a chance to start last year. And, he's done a decent job. He had a really good year last year for Cincinnati. Not sure if he can do that again as a full-time starter. So we'll see. I have question marks on Martinez, Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller is a guy that I think is going to be slightly, above average pitcher. He's the number 5 guy in this rotation. So with this hitter's ballpark, I'd have to take a look at this again. And these two have both struggled offensively, especially the Reds. The Reds have struggled. We know how bad Seattle struggled. I think the Reds have struggled more than Seattle has over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, look at the last 7 days. Cincinnati, 277 on base and a 275 slugging and a 58 weighted runs created. But that means they're due a little bit too. They're gonna come through sooner or later. They're a better hitting team than that. So I may look at the over of this because I really, both pitchers, neither guy really impresses me.
And both the lineups have seen these pitchers previously. Not 29 and 31 at bats, so not a whole lot, but that does help the.
Well, I think that's where I went wrong yesterday. I lost my first 5 inning bet under 4.5 in the second inning or third inning, I think, yesterday, because both these teams had seen each pitcher recently.
Okay.
Castillo got clocked in his return yesterday, an 8-4 win for the Reds. Again, Reds are playing pretty well. It's 6 out of 7 for Cincinnati, including the 4-game winning streak. And they're doing it thanks to their arms, except for last night. And again, it's Nick Martinez got that qualifying offer and did not hesitate to sign it during the offseason after a little bit of an overachieving year. I'm with you, Kenny. I think a little regression probably going to hit him at some point. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, 2 playing games in the NBA tonight. Losers go home. Winners advance to Friday to have a shot to get the 8 seeds, and also 1 huge game in the NHL. Playoff implications, very important in a big one with Montreal and Carolina when we get back. Sports by the Book here at the South Point.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
We're back in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Going side to side here on your screen, and all of our social handles on the bottom as well. Alex, checking in with the chat here on a Wednesday morning.
Yes, pretty busy chat. So Jerry, Vicarious Vegas, Dean Hilt, happy Hump Day. We will have some Hump Day homers coming soon. B-Flow, I believe that is. Yes, changed his name up a little bit. Bob Custer, hello from Reno. JR, Attila from the ballpark, welcome in, everybody. Robert L, A Gold, and then a couple comments in there that I will go through as well. It looks like JR did give us a tally, though, for the ballpark for the Aviators so far this year. Under is 7-2-1 to start the season. So we'll see if maybe when it gets a little hotter.
Yeah, I hope it's 7-3-1 after tonight. I went over 12.5. The wind's supposed to be blowing out to center field tonight about 15 miles an hour.
And the Athletics already called up one of our best pitchers, or he was our best pitcher to start off with, Ginn. So I think that'll start happening more and more as well, because their pitching staff did start off very, very well.
Let's shift gears. We go to the hardwood. Last night, as we said, Golden State won but did not cover. Orlando won and covered a lot over yesterday. So Magic go to Boston. Golden State goes to Houston. And now tonight, these are elimination games, win or go home. In the play-in tournament, we begin in the Windy City. The Chicago Bulls, the 9 seed, take on the 10 seed Miami Heat. It has been a mess for Miami since the Jimmy Butler trade. Fell from the 4 seed all the way down to the 10. And if it weren't for the teams behind them in the Eastern Conference being completely inept, they probably wouldn't have even been in this spot. The Bulls, being kind of like Ryan McCormick, the resident Bull fan, can probably agree with me on this. This has been kind of like the most Billy Donovan Bulls season you can get, where it has looked pretty pedestrian for a long period of time, and they do just enough because of a good stretch here at the end of the season to sneak into the play-in tournament. It's kind of what the Bulls have done over the last few years since the play-in tournament has come into existence. They have won, going back to losing to Oklahoma City 145 to 117 on March 31st. The Bulls, since the calendar has turned to April, are 6-1. So they've played very well down the stretch to get this home game, and the bettors are betting Chicago today from 1 to 2, total 220 on this one, Alex. I'm curious your thoughts here on this. By the way, the early total numbers are long gone. South Point opened the totals a little bit later than others. That's why they are at actually their current opener at 220.
Let's go Bulls. I'm with you. You said it Monday. You were pretty shocked that the money was coming in the other way. They were taking that hook with the Heat. So I did jump in, especially I got your sheet that said the Bulls as well, I believe.
I meant him too.
So I jumped in a Bulls -1 just for a small play there. But on the flip side, if I was looking, because we do have some play and game propositions here at the South Point, if I was looking at anyone, it would be Bam for the Heat. 19.5 points, -120. I like that over because since Jimmy Butler, I mean, even when he was sitting out and then the trade, I mean, Bam's had to really step up offensively. He's been one of those key guys. It's an important game. You're going to get the best out of your star players. So while I do like the Bulls' current form, how they are playing to win this game, I'd highlight Bam there for my player prop.
I was 1-0 yesterday in the playoffs with my totals, and that was a sweat at the Atlanta-Orlando game. It looked like an easy under going to the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden Orlando couldn't miss of all teams, but you know, these are playoff games, and they're going to be tighter. And I stayed away from the second one. There was a lot of under money for the Golden State-Memphis game. That total really dropped. I really should have had an overplay in it. I passed it. It did go over, but this one I like under. Miami is a defensive basketball team. They're going to try to keep the tempo down. That's the way they play. 97 possessions. The Bulls are going to run, and they are the better team, but because they're playing at home, basically, I think. I really think the talent level between these two is pretty equal. But I like it under, and I like it under because of that defense that Miami runs out there, and they're a good organization, and also like it because they don't score a lot. So I think that's a good recipe for an under from me.
I'm on Chicago. I've done something that I barely did, and because we're technically in playoffs, Ryan McCormick does not get his smack of the head that was promised during the regular season. I'm on Chicago. I thought that the Bulls should have been favored by 3, maybe more. Now, the only concern is you have Bam and Hero and guys who have played plenty of high leverage playoff games in the past on the other side. But I think Miami's been ready for Cancun for months at this point. And one more trip and get to go to Cancun? Yeah, I think that's where we're at here. I think the motivation, and it's so weird to say in a playoff game, but the motivation is more there for Chicago than it is for Miami. By the way, whoever wins this game, I'm going to be on them against Atlanta on Friday. I don't care who wins. If Miami does pull the short upset, I do like them on Friday against a Hawk team that also looked like they wanted to be in Cancun more than Orlando a night ago as well. But I'm on the Bulls. I laid a $1.15 money line earlier in the week. Now it's up to -130. You're getting to the point where maybe you just wait for Miami to get a 5-point lead early and just come back on Chicago around that even money number, or even -110, Alex. That would be the way I'd look at it.
Just playing a little bit of a devil's advocate here.
Please,
and
please.
I almost said Steve Pagnuolo. That's not right. What's the head coach of the Heat?
Spoelstra.
Spoelstra, yes. Is a very good coach. He will have adjustments, and these two did just play each other, right? And the Bulls won 119 to 111. So that, I mean, I guess if he's got his team locked down, but if they already checked out, you never know. I still do like the Bulls side. I just wanted to bring up that coaching advantage and what we have seen with him in the playoffs. And of course, he had Jimmy Butler in those as well. But Yeah, that's the only.
Spo at this point, other than Pop, is the second longest tenured coach in the NBA. That obviously titles with LeBron, multiple finals appearances with Jimmy Butler as the head honcho, as we know too. So, but again, I just think it's a different animal here. It really has felt like Miami is checked out. But we'll see. Again, it's the NBA. We know there's a reason why I gave McCormick rights to smacking me in the head for any regular season bet this year. All right, the second game, Sacramento and Dallas. I have no idea what to do with this game. Obviously, Anthony Davis at this point is going to be really what this is all about here in this game. With Kyrie done for the year, as we know. What are we getting out of AD, who has obviously dealt with plenty of injuries all year long? He is probable tonight. He will play with that left adductor injury. Kings have been actually a little bit better than I thought since trading De'Aaron Fox, getting Zach LaVine back for him. But I don't know. This feels like a pretty pure stay off and see what happens, see if there's any in-game angles here. 4.5 on the Kings, 214 a total.
So I have nothing on this one. I was very curious, dove into the 3 games in the regular season, and the Kings did win all 3 of them, of course. But really looking at those games, the first one, De'Aaron Fox scored 33 points. He is no longer on that team. The Mavericks were without Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Derek Lively, and Luka was out with his calf strain. Second game, Dallas was playing without Anthony Davis, PJ Washington, Derek Lively. And then the third game, Zach LaVine had 22 points, DeRozan added 20, and then the Mavericks were without Kyrie because he left in the first quarter. So with all that being said, this is the first time that this new Dallas Mavericks team will actually get to face the Kings. So that makes me lean to taking the points here with Dallas, thinking that they can hang around and if they have all of their star power. But I don't know. I don't know what Dallas really has left in the tank either at this point with everything that's gone on this year.
I don't like betting over when games have so much meaning. But of all the teams in this first, on yesterday and today, these are the 2 worst defenses of all 8 teams. And we know how bad Atlanta is. I think these 2 are worse than Atlanta. This total crashed. I saw as high as 223, and now I'm looking at 214s. Now, I'm not going to go over the game total. I'm going to hope they get off to an extremely slow start, and it's 2-0, 4 minutes into the game, and maybe it can go over 205 or something like that. So I'll look to go under something, about 8-9 points off the closing number.
214 total, like you said, just totally crashing over the last few days on this. And again, winner of this game will go to Memphis. I like the Grizz against whoever wins in this game. Again, whoever gets out of the 8th seed gets the right to lose in 5 games max to Oklahoma City. So, you're playing to make the playoffs, extra money, all that fun jazz. But I wouldn't give you any of these remaining 3 teams that are in contention for the 8th seed in the West any sort of good shot of getting maybe more than a game against Oklahoma City, even though Dallas played the Thunder pretty well this year, but the playoffs, a totally different animal. All right, we want to go to the ice? Let's go to it. 1 game of imports here today. The other few games, Alex doesn't have any real looks. We just don't know what we're getting here on the final, next to last day of the regular season. But there is 1 game that means everything, and we go north of the border for it. The Montreal Canadiens need a point. So they just need to get the game to overtime, and they will make the postseason. If they lose a regulation, then things get really interesting with tomorrow involving the Columbus Blue Jackets. This game opened Carolina minus 120. It's now actually legitimately in the last 5 minutes got bet to Montreal minus 135. So we are just going up the totem pole here on Montreal, Alex. Total of 6 hasn't moved at all. We talked about it yesterday, teams that have to win, not necessarily the best bets, even though the 3 that had to win yesterday all won.
Yeah.
Granted, by the time the Flames won, they were already eliminated because both St. Louis and Minnesota had already won earlier in the night. But here you go, $1.35 on the Canadiens. They need to just get the game to overtime. If they do it, they are in.
3rd time's a charm, right? No, I like Dwayne Colucci way too much to bet on his team again here because I bet on him against the Sens without Brady Tkachuk and then against the the Blackhawks, and we haven't got there yet. So I think they get it done tonight. I really do. If you jumped in at that minus 120, great price. But we know the Canes have kind of been resting people for a while.
The draws plus, I think you get $3 on the draw.
I don't mind that angle at all.
You know, with the team, they just need to send it into overtime to get that point to move on. So they could, if it's tied late, they'll be very conservative, and they may not be aggressive offensively because they wouldn't want to give up that breakaway and give up a goal. So they could just get very defensive. Hey, we'll go to overtime, no problem. We're going to the playoffs.
Regardless of what happens in these next two games, the other 7 seeds are all locked in the East. The West, after last night's Minnesota's come from behind win, St. Louis shellacking of Utah. Everything is all locked in the West. We know the bracket on both sides of things. You can throw that up there if you want, Ryan. This is entering today for the bracket. Montreal, of course, you can go full screen if you want. We don't need to see us. Montreal is currently in that second wild card. If they fall out, the Blue Jackets would be the one that move in.
Right.
Everything else is set. We'll start getting some series prices over the next few days. But all I'm going to tell you is, Alex and Kenny, the series I am most intrigued by is the one in the bottom left on our screen, and that is Edmonton and LA again, where Edmonton is not 100% healthy here, and the Kings have home ice. I'm just curious to see how this comes priced, and if this is priced a little more fairly than it has been in the past when these two teams are matched up. If it isn't, it will be a bet on LA for me. I just don't like the way Edmonton, with the way that they're still battling injuries, even though guys are playing through them. I am concerned about that moving forward against a team that is as physical as anyone in the NHL and the Kings.
Yeah, I hope it's not priced fairly. I hope it's priced how it usually is with Edmonton and where they are in the market, especially with the injuries. And, I mean, even McDavid just came back not too long ago. So it's going to be tough for him to get in full swing. And does he really want to go on another run like last year when they're not fully healthy? Going for his first cup?
Always.
But really, I mean, they need to get fully healthy and get their goalie situation before really making a serious run and
so
be a
there's
contender.
one price out there. Superbook got him up. It's plus 115 on the Kings. So that is the most. It is the most fairly priced that those have been by the books. Not for us, the better, but for out there. By the way, the biggest favorite right now of the prices for round one, Carolina, minus 270 against the Devils, plus 230 on the take back on New Jersey. I would imagine. I'm so interested to see what a Montreal-Washington price will be also, or if it's Columbus. I think Washington is vulnerable. They are the odds to win the Cup right now. Florida and Colorado, your two betting favorites here at the South Point at 7-1, then the Lightning at 750, and then a whole collection, including VGK at 8-1.
It's interesting, Jeff. Do you remember last year where my numbers were right on with all those crazy Carolina numbers? And this year I just have not gotten there with the Canes. So that's interesting to me that they are still that big of a favorite. Now I know the Devils are missing one of their best players, but
no Hughes, of course. Season ended here in Vegas.
So, it's interesting, and I know we'll be on opposite sides for Toronto and in the Sens.
Well, I'm not going to bet it, but I am going to have a future on the Leafs to win the Cup, which I'm sure will die at least a month earlier than the Cup final begins. But can't help myself on that one. That's all I know.
Any that you're looking at yet?
No, I haven't. I'm going to put you to work and have you do some prices today. I'll use the series price calculator and come up with some what those series prices should be from your numbers.
All right.
We'll have them for tomorrow.
We will.
Yes.
We will. On the show, we'll also have some NBA series price looks on the show tomorrow with an off day in the NBA on a Thursday. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, make sure you get your answer to the trivia question that's been floating across the bottom of the screen even though I think we already got, should have figured that was the case already. But we'll tell you the answer. We'll also have the whiteboards when we get back, when we wrap things up. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back in. Sports by the Book, wrapping things up on a Wednesday morning. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White, both Kenny and Alex writing things down on their whiteboard. And while they're doing that, I'll tell you the trivia question today. On this date in MLB history, the only opening day no-hitter occurred. Who threw it? Any guesses?
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember that. When you say it,
I can tell you none of
when
us
you
were.
say it, I know.
None of us were around for it.
Okay.
So none of us were around for it.
Opening day no hitter.
1940 was Bob Feller, who did it for, at the time, the Cleveland Indians against the White Sox at Old Comiskey, a 1-0 no-hitter, the only opening day no-hitter in Major League history. In shocking fashion, JR got it right. I know. What a surprise. The Invitational continues. Good job, JR. As Feller, of course, Hall of Famer himself, did it in 1940. All right. Whiteboards will be ready in a moment here as we get going here on a Wednesday. And Ryan, you can throw the graphic up for whiteboards on a Wednesday, and we will begin with Alex White and her whiteboard here today.
Yes. Okay. So 2 baseball, because 2 of my baseball already started with the Tigers and the Cardinals. So Nats minus 110, Washington Nationals, Dodgers team total over 5.5. And Bulls, I'm going to go with Jeff's way since it's up to 2 now. So if anybody else is following, just money line minus 130, and then Bam for over his points, 19.5. 4 bets today on the whiteboard.
That's a little more conservative. I had 5 plays yesterday. Was fortunate to go 3-2. Feel like I could have gone 4-1 or 1-4 with yesterday's schedule. But today, 3 games, one in the big leagues. I like that Dodger game over the total of 8.5 for the entire game. NBA Miami, Chicago under 220, and then that NHL game, the one that's the most meaning in it. I'm gonna bet the draw plus $3.
I don't mind that at all. I mean, the Canadiens just need a point in order to get to the postseason here with a game against Carolina today. If Montreal loses in regulation, Blue Jackets need to win tomorrow. In order to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. All right, that's what we got. Alex, Kenny, good work. We'll see you all tomorrow.
I got to have a different section for like player props. So really I have 3 today. 3 team ones.
3 plus 1.
Yes.
We'll call it that.
Thank you.
3 plus 1 here on the Best Bets here today. Ryan, Jerry, Drew Dog, Sean, and thank you. As always, we will see you again, and Vince as well. Don't want to forget Vince. We'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place, right here, Sports by the Book, here at the Sound Point Studio. And also make sure you're following all of our social media accounts as well, Sports by the Book on Instagram and Twitter.